A historic turning point. Full-spectrum currency redemption becomes reality. Welcome back to IQD Global Intel. What I am about to share with you today could change the way you think about money, value, and opportunity. For years, millions of people around the world have quietly held onto Iraqi Dinar, IQD, Vietnamese Dong, VND, and Zimbabwean dollar notes, ZIM, believing that one day their patience and persistence would be rewarded. For some, it was an act of hope. For others, it was a calculated gamble based on economic and geopolitical shifts. Until now, the idea of these currencies rising in recognition and value was brushed aside by critics. Mainstream voices often mocked holders as dreamers chasing fantasies. Families and friends questioned the logic. Rumors swirled endlessly, yet tangible proof was hard to come by. That skepticism has kept many people on the sidelines. But today marks a dramatic change. What was once whispered speculation is now confirmed movement. Official redemption centers are not only opening their doors, they are accepting a full spectrum of denominations, large and small. This development signals a decisive turning point, not just for individual investors, but for global financial systems themselves. Why this moment matters. The importance of this moment cannot be overstated. For decades, Iraq, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe have each faced economic turmoil, unstable currencies, and long struggles to earn international trust. Yet behind the scenes, quiet progress has been taking place. Iraq has rebuilt its monetary infrastructure, tackled corruption, and modernized its banking system. The nation's oil wealth is now paired with reforms that give international partners more confidence. Vietnam has steadily transitioned into one of Asia's fastest-growing economies, building trade networks, attracting foreign investment, and establishing itself as a manufacturing hub for the global supply chain. Zimbabwe, once infamous for hyperinflation that rendered trillion-dollar notes nearly worthless, has begun experimenting with asset-backed models and responsible fiscal policies. While the road remains difficult, the trajectory is finally shifting. The convergence of these efforts has opened the door for what many once thought impossible: official, structured redemption of these currencies across denominations. What full-spectrum redemption means in the past, the focus was almost always on large notes. Holders of 25,000 IQD bills, or massive trillion-dollar ZIM notes, were often told they were the only ones who could benefit from an eventual revaluation or exchange. Smaller notes were dismissed as insignificant. That belief is now obsolete. Full-spectrum redemption means all denominations are included: 1,000, 5,000, and 10,000 IQD notes, 10,000 and 20,000 VND bills, not just the larger stacks. Even Zimbabwe's famously oversized 10 trillion, 50 trillion, and 100 trillion notes. Every denomination is being verified, accepted, and logged. This is monumental because it levels the playing field. Whether someone bought one small note years ago or built up a large collection, everyone is included in the process. The broader global implications: this isn't just about individual redemption. It represents a shift in how the world views these economies. For Iraq, it signals that its financial reforms are credible enough to support international participation. For Vietnam, it underlines its reputation as an export powerhouse and rising star in global trade. For Zimbabwe, it marks the early stages of re-establishing financial credibility and building a future on more solid ground. By allowing small and large notes alike, these nations are declaring that their currencies are ready to function as real, everyday mediums of exchange, not just collectors' items or speculative assets. Why smaller notes are crucial: one of the most underestimated aspects of this development is the inclusion of smaller denominations. In any stable economy, small notes are essential. They allow ordinary citizens to participate in commerce, conduct daily transactions, and trust that their money has value. The fact that redemption centers are honoring 1,000 IQD or 10,000 VND notes suggests a deeper vision. These are not symbolic gestures. They are part of the foundation of a legitimate monetary system. When the smallest denominations are given value, it signals stability and long-term integration. This inclusion also removes a major fear that haunted smaller investors: that only elites or wealthy holders of massive stacks would benefit. Now, even individuals with modest holdings have a seat at the table. How the redemption process works: it's important to understand that redemption centers are not typical bank branches. They are specialized facilities built for high-value transactions. Here's what participants can expect. 1. Appointments or walk-ins. Some centers operate strictly on scheduled appointments, while others allow limited walk-ins depending on demand. 2. Identity verification. A government-issued ID is required, preferably a passport. For larger redemptions, additional documentation may be requested. 3. Currency authentication. Advanced machines scan each note for watermarks, fibers, and security features. Counterfeits are instantly flagged. 4. Transaction confirmation. Once validated, holders receive receipts and confirmation documents detailing the redemption. 5. Payout options. Depending on the center, payouts may include certified checks, direct wire transfers, or digital wallet deposits. Some transactions can finalize within 24 hours. These centers are highly secure. Biometric scanners, armed security, surveillance systems, and private rooms ensure confidentiality and compliance with anti-money laundering laws. This is not a backroom handshake. It's a documented, auditable process. Timing and urgency. While no official expiration has been announced, timing is critical. Historically, early participants in processes like this often receive more favorable terms or higher rates. As more people enter the system, terms can tighten. Delays may mean lower exchange rates, stricter paperwork requirements, longer waiting times. Acting quickly but wisely is key. How to prepare for those ready to take the next step. Preparation is essential. Organize your currency, sort notes by denomination and country. This speeds up verification. Update identification. Ensure your passport or government ID is valid and current. Research centers confirm location, hours, and whether appointments are needed. Educate yourself, understand terms like structured payout or contract rate. Bring support if nervous. Take along a trusted advisor, broker, or even a calm friend. Walking in unprepared can slow the process or cause unnecessary stress. Preparation shows professionalism and confidence. A moment of validation for many holders. This news is more than financial, it's deeply personal. After years of skepticism, dismissal, and doubt, full-spectrum redemption proves that the effort was not in vain. This is validation that the patience and perseverance of ordinary people matter. The fact that small denominations are accepted means the narrative has shifted. It is no longer just about rewarding elites or insiders. Everyday people are now participants in this new financial chapter. The bigger picture, this moment represents more than individual gains. It reflects a coordinated global effort to integrate struggling economies into the international system. It is about trust, as these nations demonstrate credibility. It is about inclusion, as all holders, not just wealthy investors, are invited to participate. It is about transition, moving from rumors and speculation to verifiable, structured action. The recognition of IQD, VND, and ZIM as legitimate tradable assets marks a shift in global finance. What once seemed like worthless paper is now validated in a process backed by infrastructure, compliance, and international cooperation. Why this is a historic turning point. 1. For individuals, holders of every background finally have the chance to benefit. Small notes matter just as much as large ones. 2. For nations, Iraq, Vietnam, and Zimbabwe are moving toward renewed credibility, economic participation, and integration into global trade. 3. For the world, it signals that global finance is entering a new phase of inclusivity, reform, and opportunity. Final thoughts. The acceptance of all denominations of IQD, VND, and ZIM notes is more than news. It's a milestone. It proves that years of anticipation were leading toward something tangible and structured. If you've been waiting for proof, this is it. If you've questioned whether holding your notes was worth it, this is your confirmation. This is not merely about exchanging currency. It is about stepping into a new era of global financial participation. What you do in the coming weeks could shape your financial life for decades to come. Be organized. Be informed. Be ready. Because for the first time in history, full-spectrum redemption is here, and everyone is included. Disclaimer: all content provided by IQD Global Intel is for educational and informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors and do not provide investment, trading, or banking advice. Viewers should always conduct their own research and consult with a licensed financial advisor before making any financial decisions.